Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday to you. It is Thursday, June 22nd, 2023, the day after the summer solstice. I hope you guys had a great longest day of the year yesterday if you're in this part of the world. It certainly was a long day yesterday. Could have been because we had two birthdays in our household, could have been because we're packing and moving. There's just a lot going on right now, and it makes for a long day regardless if it's nature's longest day or not. Okay, it's a long day anyway. So I'm glad to have you here today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and you're watching Project Joy Live. It is your triple shot of good vibes every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. We are smack in the middle of our Battle of the Decades series, and this week has been our Y2K Rewind. We've covered the 80s, we've covered the 90s, we're covering 2000s this week, and next week we'll be covering 2010s. But, you know, it's one of those things where we're like, oh, 2010s wasn't that long ago. It really was. It was 13 years ago. Just in case you didn't know, that was still a minute ago. So time goes by really quickly, and I think that's something we have all learned through this series. My special guest this morning joined us yesterday. She's joining us again today. She is the owner of Sacred Yin Secrets. She is an artist. She's a Reiki practitioner. She's all the things, and she's my personal koala bear. So with that, let's bring to the show Miss Brittany Floyd. Good morning, Miss Brittany.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's good to have you here this morning again. And we're going to be talking about fashion and trends today, which is always fun.
It is. And I was a teenager then, so I was. I had the loose pants on, the tight shirt. I even remember the white belt phase, the whole white belt phase. Yeah.
I have no, listen, what's been really fun, I think, about this series is having different people on who were at different phases of life during these decades, because like when we were on 90s week and Farhan came on music and movies, he was fresh in the military. Like he was an adult in the military, whereas I was a teenager. And now we're getting into 2000s where I was having my first child, I was married, everything else, like in the very beginning, and you were in high school in the beginning of the 2000s. So it's been fun to kind of see like how the decades hit us, depending, and the culture and the styles and all of that, depending on where we are in life too.
Yeah. I think, and especially the 90s and 2000s, if you were a teenager or adult in that era, it literally carried on. I still find a lot of the things, a lot of music, movies, fashion, all that has carried on into my adulthood. I think that's really cool.
It's still going. I live the 90s literally every day. I was joking around yesterday how Heather Clark had messaged me about a TikTok, and it had Gangsta's Paradise playing as the song, and she was like, oh wait, throwback to middle school. I'm like, I hear that like 3 times a day. Wait a minute, it's not still the 90s? Oh crap. What happened? Miss Carla's joining us this morning. Good morning, Carla. It's so good to see you here today. Let us know if you have any fun fashion trends that you remember from the 2000s, or cultural trends as well. There was a lot that went on, and I think one of the realizations I had too was like, I don't know, the world hits different during that time that you're moving from teenage to adulthood. Like it's just like you think everything's great and wonderful. And then adulting happens, and it changes the way you look at the world. Really quickly, I want to talk about our national days today because we have a few things going on. Do you like onion rings, Miss Brittany?
I love onion rings.
I love onion rings so much, and today is National Onion Rings Day. So if you enjoy onion rings, it is your day. It recognizes a batter dipped deep fried bite of delicious. I literally just started drooling. I should eat before I come on the show in the morning. Deep fried bite of deliciousness that runs rings around other appetizers. See what they did there?
Mm-hmm.
they're eaten all over the world, apparently, which I guess I always thought of it as like a one of the typical, deep fried American dishes, but they're eaten all over the world. So that's pretty cool to know, as well. It is also, while we're talking about being hungry, we might as well continue it. It is National Chocolate Eclair Day.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
all we have time for on today's show. We're gonna go eat now.
You notice that silence. You know that's what we were.
I was like, do we have to do the show today? I'm feeling kind of hungry. Thanks for being here today, Miss Brittany. We're gonna go eat now. So let me know if you guys are gonna celebrate National Chocolate Eclair Day. It recognizes a delicious cream-filled pastry covered in smooth chocolate. And see, I bring up the articles about these things, and so I'm the one that has to stare at the picture. I really feel like I need to bring it over and share with you guys, because if I have to suffer looking at the photos, then you guys should too. What's happening? Good morning, Deja. It's good to see you this morning. I hope you're having a good day, and let us know if you have any fun 2000s fashion trends that you remember that you would like to discuss today. Like I said, I was going into the adult mom, and I think I was wearing maternity things and didn't really care much about the fashion. So Brittany's gonna have to take the reins on that. So with that, let's get into our let's take a quick break, and we'll get into our fashion trends of the 2000s. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm joined by Miss Brittany this morning, and we are talking about the fashion and culture trends from the years 2000 through 2009. I want to talk quickly about some of the culture trends, because I feel like a lot of the culture really ties into the fashion and whatnot that we're going to be talking about as well. So, number one, started in the early 2000s, social media became a thing. So the 90s, we really had that .com boom and bubble, and then in the early 2000s, MySpace was born. Did you have a MySpace, Brittany?
Yes, I did. That was my. You could change the background. You could
Yeah.
add music. Yeah, that was.
That was the moment, really. I wish that we could put like music on our Facebook page. And remember when that was like a big thing with websites, and then too, where you'd go to a website and music would start playing, and you're like, where is it? It was like this very digital like music, and you're going, where did that come from? It's crazy. It's crazy. Also, iPods became a pretty big deal. You know, in the 80s, we had the Walkmans and the cassettes, and then the Discmans came along in the 1990s. And then we go into, then there was like a mini disc player, and then we go into the iPods when people started being able to download digital music and whatnot as well. Now, another culture trend they talk about, but it really came about in the late 90s and carried over into 2000s, was having a pager, because apparently we were all little mini drug dealers back then. Did you have the pager, Miss?
No, actually, I didn't. I think that I don't think that I had really any. It was old. It was a little bit later when I had the flip phone. That was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had a pager in like, I don't know, 97, maybe something like that. I was still in high school. I thought I was hot shit for what, I have no idea. I think it was just fun to put like the, 1-4. So when you turn it upside down, it says hi. And like, I could tell you so many inappropriate numbers to put in that when you turn it upside down, it says something it shouldn't say.
See, yeah, that's what we used to do that with a calculator. So that was that was our thing was a calculator.
Well, this fun fact, the same the same knowledge can be applied to your pager. Well, DJ had a purple pager. I did too. I had like a clear purple with like glitter or some ish in there. I don't know. Uh, I look back and I'm like, really? Who's paging you? Who? No one. No one. Little boy down the street that had no business paging you anyway. Also, the big internet continued to grow in the 2000s. Netflix became a thing, but that was DVDs. I don't remember. I can't believe we didn't talk enough about this. um I was trying to look and see when Blockbuster closed.
I think it was still open. Because I remember being a teenager and going down the street to Blockbuster.
I guess it was 2013. So maybe that's why it hadn't come up yet in our conversation. It'll come up as next week as we talk about the 2010s. But I think really in the 2000s, towards the end of the 2000s, Blockbuster started dying down and people were getting the DVDs from Netflix, and then the streaming happened later on as well. So those are some of the things culturally that we were talking about. I want to get into the fashion here because I did not participate in a lot of this because I was wearing maternity clothes starting in some of these. Number one thing that you think of in 2000s is low rise jeans and crop tops.
Yep, that was my style in the when I was in high school. Loose bag. I had these one favorite pair of jeans
Mm-hmm.
that had holes everywhere. Um, and they even ripped even more the more I wore them, but I didn't care. It was fashionable to me, and I always had my belly hanging out when I was able to. I was in, and then I had the matching belt, and then flip flops to match. That was my style in high school. That was, and the messy hair.
Now, did you have the cargo pants too, or just the jeans, like the pants with all the pockets, the bigger pants with all the pockets?
I did have a few pairs, but it wasn't, yeah, that wasn't mine.
Yeah, we had the low rise jeans, which became a popular trend in the early 2000s, with jeans sitting low on the hips and exposing the midriff. The style was often paired with crop tops or fitted t-shirts, and then the cargo pants made a comeback in the early 2000s, offering a more casual and alternative to traditional jeans. These pants featured multiple pockets on the sides, adding a functional and stylish element to outfits. Apparently, mini skirts were a big deal in the early 2000s as well. Did you see that?
I wasn't a girly girl.
Yeah.
I played ball and stuff, so I was, I didn't really get. It was probably in the later 2000s that I started to really like put on makeup and start to be a little bit more girly, but
Yeah.
I skirts and dresses were never my thing. They were never my thing.
Deja said the low rise jeans was a nightmare for me. They would have been a nightmare for me too, and they wouldn't have been cute with my big old pregnant belly above those low rise jeans either. Um, let's see what else we had. UGG boots became a thing. They were known for their sheepskin lining and comfortable design. They surged popularity in the 2000s. They were often worn with leggings, jeans, or even skirts, creating a cozy and laid back look. I never did the UGG boots.
Yeah, me neither. I think actually was a few years ago that my mom gave me some UGG boots
Really?
that wouldn't fit her, but that was the first ones that I've ever, yeah, I wasn't ever.
I remember Oprah making a really big deal about Uggs. And I was like, what the hell are Uggs? I was like, I had no idea. I had no idea. Oh, Deezer said, I love a mini skirt because I love my legs. Listen, get it, girl.
Ooh, okay.
You gotta wear what makes you feel gorgeous, and it was not either one of these things for me at that time. Also, graphic T-shirts became a really big deal in the 2000s, with bold logos and slogans. These expressive shirts allowed individuals to showcase their interests, music preferences, or sense of humor. And I think that's something that's still a pretty big deal today. People wearing the shirts that like say a funny thing or have some kind of slogan or logo on it. I think that's still a pretty big deal now, right?
Yeah, I mean, my closet is full of them. Even back then, that was definitely, yeah, that was definitely my thing back then,
Yeah.
and still carried on to this day.
Yep, absolutely. I think then too, there was a lot of, even outside of the clothes, there was a lot of things that you could start getting with like statements on them. Like I remember getting keychains and posters in the late 90s, early 2000s that had like pretty bold statements on them. Like typically, you would decorate with like, I don't know, something that had an image, but there was a lot of, I think, like the statements, like, how we get the stickers and stuff now, like you get with the sayings and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that really started to become a thing in the 2000s as well.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I don't know if this was in the 90s or early two. I think I was a little bit younger, so I think it was the 90s where the computer where they had the little dolls that you could dress up
Hmm.
differently and then you can print them out.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
God,
that was probably, if it was 90s, it was super late 90s. Um,
I think it may have been in the 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember exactly, but I was a little bit younger than a teenager, so
yeah. Probably was late 90s then. In addition, carrying over from the 90s into the 2000s, there was still denim everywhere. Denim jackets, denim skirts, denim dresses, denim jeans. That's probably the only trend that I was that I was really super into. But listen to this. Apparently, a double denim outfit, so meaning a denim top and a denim bottom, is known as a Canadian tuxedo.
That's interesting.
What? Where is my husband? My Canadian husband when we're talking about these things. Heather, Shiraz, where are you guys? Right? Is this true, or is this Americans coming up with this phrase? I have never heard this in my whole life. I'm Canadian tuxedo. I'm looking this up. It's a denim jacket worn with a pair of jeans.
Wow, that's interesting.
I have never heard this. Oh, iconic picture. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I must show this. I well, I'm trying to. I can't. Why did they blow it up so big? Oh lord. I'm going to see if I can show it just from here, because this, I remember this picture and when this happened so well. Okay, it's the pictures on the right of Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears in the
I
denim.
remember that.
Do you?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my god! Talk about talk about a throwback. That is wild. That is why that's a funny memory there. In addition to the denim, tube tops were a pretty big deal, also referred to as bandeau tops, often paired with the low rise jeans or skirts. I think we were getting into a lot more skin showing in the 2000s. Um, and then statement accessories carried over from the 90s as well, like oversized sunglasses, chunky belts, hoop earrings, and wide headbands. And adding a bold element to outfits as well. So, what if you could pick a style from the 2000s to stay forever? What would you pick, and what would you hope would never come back?
Of course, the graphic tees, because I
Yeah.
don't think that's ever. I'm a little too self-conscious, I guess. Like, I was gonna say chubby, but it doesn't matter what size you are if you want to wear what you want. With the low rise jeans, I think I became a mother in 2008, and that's the time that I stopped wearing those low rise jeans. I remember making fun of my mom that she used to wear her pants up so high,
That's
and
my
she's like,
favorite
just
thing
wait.
now.
She's like, just wait. Yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand it being low rise nowadays, but she's like, you just wait. You're gonna see.
One day you
Um,
will appreciate it.
yes, yes. I also remember the baby fat like puffer jackets was real popular in the 2000s too. Baby fat was really, yeah. I had a lot of baby fat stuff, and
Yeah,
the jumpsuits too. The
right. They
what
have
was it, velvet or
it was velour. They had the velour
velour?
jumpsuits, the suits then that Juicy Couture started to make popular. And it was interesting because Brittany and I were talking before the show about this, that we didn't even mention in the 90s the full windbreaker jumpsuits that we were doing in the 90s, which I had a ton of those, like the what do you call them, the pants, they're just windbreaker pants, and then the jackets, and then you would wear like the tube top or whatever underneath the jacket. That was like definitely a mid to late 90s look for me, and I'm shocked that we didn't talk about that last week. Going into some makeup and hair looks from that time, frosted lip gloss was a pretty big deal. And see, a lot of these I'm still trying to pull off today. Frosted lip gloss, smoky eyes. Almost all the pictures that I looked at of fashion from the 2000s were super dark eyes and like nothing on the lips, or a very light, like a glossy plain lip. Almost everybody. That's what I saw.
See, I just remember where that the white eyeliner on top, the white eyeshadow on top of my eyes. If I did wear makeup, I wasn't really a huge makeup fan, but I don't remember smoky eye. It's still not my. I think it's still not my thing. I don't wear too much makeup anyway, so.
Funny though. I don't remember doing the lighter. I mean, I think I did lighter stuff in the 90s, and then it got dark. So symbolic of the time. Super thin eyebrows were a pretty big deal, and
Yeah.
I remember when I would see pictures of Christina Aguilera from that time. She had like, it was like a current, like one line, like one.
I still suffer from when I plucked my eyebrows so thin, and now they're just like permanently loose.
The whole thing. They started really pushing the bronzed glow with tanning lotions, bronzers, shimmery highlighters, hair highlights, like the chunky highlights, as well as highlights around your face, became a pretty big deal in the 2000s. Straight and sleek hair. That's why I started and I didn't even finish straightening my hair before the show this morning. Were becoming more popular, made popular by celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Victoria Beckham. More natural makeup. We definitely were getting away in the 2000s from that bright pink and purple and blue colors that we were seeing in the 80s and 90s for sure.
Yeah. I remember my hair, and we used to take that for with LA Colors, it's gel, and we used to scrunch it, and then like I was just telling you, yeah, we were talking about it yesterday, and then we would straighten our bangs for God knows what, but that was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
I remember that being a thing for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that like late 90s and going into the early 2000s, that we're still doing the scrunched hair, and then the straight bangs, which are like, how would this happen naturally? It wouldn't. um and hair accessories were a pretty big deal, and one thing that I wish was I could find more of are the little butterfly clips, the
Yeah.
little
I
butterfly
remember
clips that we used
I used
to
to wear.
put in
Mhm.
there. I used to love that. Good morning, Adam. It's good to see you. I am upset with you because I didn't get the photo of your bangs in the 90s, Adam. I can't, like, we can't even have you like in the comments right now because I'm all upset about not getting. I told you, no, if there wasn't a photo, it didn't happen. That's what it is. Some of the top brands in the 2000s were Apple, iPod, iTunes, iPhone. They come out with all of the things in the 2000s. And of course, we've had how many versions since that time?
Yeah.
A lot. Thanks, Apple. Nike was a pretty big deal. It obviously came out earlier than the 2000s, but there was a lot in the 2000s with endorsements from athletes and things like that. Google really fired up in the 2000s, as well as Microsoft, Coca-Cola, which we'll go into a little bit tomorrow. As we mentioned, we always talk about food on Fun Friday, so make sure you eat before you all come to the show tomorrow. Sony, they came out with the PlayStation 2 in 2000. They came out with Walkman MP3 players. Samsung as well, coming out with mobile devices. As far as fashion goes, Gucci really had a resurgence in the early 2000s. So that was a pretty big deal. And then I was looking up information about this because Starbucks became a thing in I think 1971, but I never remembered hearing like people really talking about it until the 2000s. And sure enough, it became a global chain in the 2000s. Although the coffee shop opened on the West Coast in Seattle in the 70s, it took all the way until the 2000s for it to become a global brand.
So that just lets you know if you are a small business and whatnot, keep striving. Keep striving because you never know when your time may be.
That's it. That's it. And that, I mean, I had that whole moment with that this morning because there has been so many times when I have beat myself up. We're coming on in a couple weeks. It'll be the 5th anniversary of the Breakthrough Show Network. 5 years. And I beat myself up regularly for not being farther than I am. And I'm like, it took 70s, 80s, it took over 30 years for Starbucks to become a global brand.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, boys and girls. That's your lesson this morning.
I need to let it sink in myself. Yeah.
Anybody else get slapped with that one just now? I'm just so glad it's not just me. It's not just me. We do that all the time. And even I think about, as we've gone through this series too, we've seen in a lot of the public figures and brands that we've talked about have, and artists and celebrities too, have these whole moments like it's taken, we think because we see it that it's like this overnight thing that happens, but it really took, like, even Oprah Winfrey when she first started, back in the late 80s, there wasn't like this huge fuss over her like there is now. And that was over 30 years ago too. It was a while ago. So there was her. Who else was I thinking about? Even like we were talking about music on Wednesday. People like Madonna and Mariah Carey and Prince and even Michael Jackson just had huge like shifts into completely different people, going from like starting out in the 70s and 80s and then going into the 2000s.
Yeah.
Big shifts. So you can change. I think that's a good lesson to learn too, is, it's always a good time to reinvent yourself if you feel like you need to do that. And you can still have that longevity. People love Mariah Carey just as much, going into the 2000s as they did when she started several years before that, and she turned into not a completely different person, but her music style changed and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It is.
Anything else that you want to mention from the 2000s fashion trend and or culture
I
wise?
do I do remember other than the crop tops, we had that trend with the lace tank tops underneath, and we would pull them down. Layers was a thing for my age around that time too. Being in high school and being a teenager,
Yeah.
it still carried on. So, and we would pull them all the way down, like the lace tank tops would go dang near down to our butt, and then we would have just a plain color shirt, whatever, until graphic tees really came. I think that was
Yeah. Yeah. We had so I'm wearing today a cowl neck. We had a lot of, I had several sweaters that was like, that were bunched up like this, or you saw the lower ones, but any of the ones that had like the draping around the neck, those were a pretty big thing around that time as well. This is pretty much the only shirt that I have left that's still, wait, I might have one sweater. Yeah, I think I have one sweater that would be considered a cowl neck. But that was a thing then too. But like I said, I didn't really get into a lot of the fashion stuff then. I don't really think I didn't think until I looked back at photos from the 80s and 90s that I was really into whatever was trendy at the moment, till I looked at those photos. But I think starting from 2000 on, I really started to find my own style and not necessarily go with whatever was trendy in the moment. And I think that comes with adulthood as well, or other priorities, like motherhood, being a spouse, getting a job. Your style tends to, that's when you're finding yourself, I think.
yeah, because I went from you like low rise jeans and belly shirts to yoga pants and graphic t-shirts. I think that
Yeah.
was the thing for me, because I was still, even though I was an adult in the later 2000s, 2008, 2009, when I became a mom. That was a huge transition for me, and that's when I really started to find out the things that I really like that still carry on to I love like the off the shoulder shirts and stuff like that, and graphic tees are still, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this makes a lot of sense to me, because I remember as a teenager being wrapped up in pop culture and the styles and everything else of the time, and not understanding why a lot of the adults weren't into it. But I think that it really speaks to that priority shift of like, you have other things going on when you're young and you don't have the bills and the kids and the job, and there ain't much else to worry about other than getting good grades in school. Where's the next party going to be at? Who's inviting you to their birthday? And what's going on in pop culture?
Yeah, it
It's
speaks
interesting.
it definitely speaks volumes, because that's what, when you become an adult, it changes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different for sure. So we got to talk about birthdays today as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back to finish up the show with birthdays right after this.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. I'm here with Miss Brittany Floyd of Secret Yen Secrets this morning, my personal koala bear that I have with us today. And there will be hugs. We've been talking about our Y2K Rewind week, fashion and trends today, and it's been a fun time. And definitely, I think as we've been talking about, how priorities change, that's why I think my enthusiasm for the decade trend has kind of dwindled a little bit, because I had different priorities, and I think I really see that's been a big because that's what we like to do here on the Breakthrough Show Network, is have those breakthrough moments to realize that the little bit of a breakthrough thought for me is why how our priorities changing in life impacts how pop culture affects us as well. So it's a little side lesson here that we've learned on Project Joy Live during this series. I think we got to talk about birthdays today, Miss Brittany, and there are a lot of birthdays. In fact, I have to finish putting them on here. In the celebrity world, there's a couple big ones. Meryl Streep is 74 years old today. Wow. Happy birthday, Meryl Streep. Have you seen Bridges of Madison County?
No.
Okay.
No.
Who else was on this show? Somebody else was on this show that hadn't seen that. You must go watch that movie. Okay. Must.
Okay, you have to text me it so I'll remember.
Okay. Also, Cyndi Lauper is 70 years old today.
Cyndi, wow. It makes you feel quite old, even though I'm still pretty young. But to think like all these, that was popular back,
yeah.
That's all I could say was yeah.
Yeah. So another one that's killing me in this moment, because as we've been talking about the 90s last week and going into the 2000s, Carson Daly is 50 years old today.
Wow.
TRL, Total Request Live. I cannot right now. I don't even know what to say.
Just let me take a drink on that.
What do we got in our cups this morning? I need it a little stronger than my decaf today. So happy birthday, Meryl Streep, Cyndi Lauper, Carson Daly, the celebrities in my life today. Couple, 2-3 people I want to mention over here. First of all, Nick Rempert has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Nick. We were talking about, I must have been talking about it to Danielle behind the scenes, because we were talking about the 40th birthday parties that we had thrown for our spouses. And she had this whole big thing for her husband. And my husband is not, he's not like super social, like in person wise. He just doesn't make a lot of time for that. He works a lot, and then he comes home and he plays his game and he goes to sleep, kind of, or spends time with us and goes to sleep, one of the two. And so there were several guys that he had played on Call of Duty with on the PlayStation. And Nick Rempert was one of those people. We would all play together, a whole big group of us. And so for Phil's 40th birthday, I messaged a whole bunch of them and I was like, listen, I'm doing this thing for him for his birthday. Can you guys plan to play Call of Duty at like this time at night? And they were like, yeah. I literally camouflaged our bedroom. I made it a whole Call of Duty. We had a like a camouflage cake. We had like the controller, the whole thing, and then everybody was waiting to play Call of Duty with him on the PlayStation. All of his little global friends there, and it was the cutest thing. So I want to wish Nick a happy birthday. He's part of that group, and we miss playing with you guys. It was a lot of fun back in the day. So happy birthday to Nick. Also, if you ever visit Opelika, Alabama, you have to visit the coffee shop Mama Mocha's. It is owned by Sarah Barnett Gill, who's a pretty big name in that area. She's an amazing barista. The coffee's incredible. So if you're ever in Alabama, in I guess it's South Central Eastern. I don't know. I'm so bad with the geography, but if you're ever in Opelika, Alabama area, go visit Mama Mocha's. Happy birthday, Sarah Barnett Gill. Also, a big time celebrity in our community here on the Breakthrough Show Network is Brett Weiss. Brett Weiss has a birthday today. He is the owner and founder of the Weiss Scholarship Foundation, who we are happy to support every single month here on the Breakthrough Show Network. So definitely go and visit weissscholarshipfoundation.org. On the way out, I'm going to be playing a video from them as well. And support the Weiss Scholarship Foundation today in honor of Brett's birthday. So happy birthday, Brett. All of that being said, let's get our birthday song on. Are you ready, Miss Brittany?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Meryl Streep, Cyndi Lauper, Carson Daly, Sarah Barnett Gill, Nick Rempert, and Brett Weiss. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating today. We wish you an amazing day. And thank you, Miss Brittany, for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure being here.
Always super fun to have you here. I hope you guys have been enjoying this Battle of the Decades series. We come back tomorrow for Fun Friday, which is going to be fun because that's what it is. We're talking about our favorite moments. We'll be talking about food and anything we might have missed from the decade as well, which there's always something, and there will be even after the episode's over. And then tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we have an all-new episode of One with special guest Hannah Donji, who you guys just don't want to miss her story. It is so powerful. She is such a beautiful, powerful, amazing storyteller and woman. So definitely check her out tomorrow night, 6 p.m., One presented by The Breakthrough Show. And then we'll be back next week to do the 2010s, which should be an interesting time because it wasn't that long ago, yet it was.
Right.
That's all. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And until next time, I want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Imagine a world where every child gets a great education. Educating all children is the only way to end poverty. This is what the Weiss Scholarship Foundation is working to accomplish. Our 6 staff members, our mentors and coordinators, who are on the ground in Kenya, are totally engaged in every aspect of our students' lives, so we can give them every opportunity for success. In just a few short years, we have already awarded 141 scholarships. We send children to high school who would have never gone without our support. And then we help them go on to either university or vocational school. We have already scaled our holistic business model to 4 locations and are ready to scale it to many more. Today it's Kenya, but tomorrow it's more countries. Please contribute what you can today. You can make a one-time donation, a recurring donation, or choose to sponsor a child all on your own for all 4 years of high school for just $3,500. Go to our website, www.weisscholarshipfoundation.org.